Now that we have Lindsay here, we got to talk basketball. You watch this and the excitement, and I can hear it in your voice. Something special. But let's talk about what, without getting too far ahead, because what can you really read into it? Because it is the rookies playing against rookies and stuff like this, and younger guys. But talk about maybe what you've seen out of Ausar Thompson. Is there stuff that you've been looking for that he's shown you, or are you still looking for something to see? What can we take out of what we're seeing right now?
Well, I think, of course, what jumps out the screen is his athleticism and his length. Like this dude can cover ground. He can, if he's beaten, he can recover fast and block shots.
Can I say something as a non-basketball guy? Okay, there's a clip of him, and it was a few games ago. We're coming around the top of the key, and you could see that he got beat, but he recovered. And I always wonder, right? Like, it's so amazing to me when I watch the NBA that guys just get either above and the hands right here, and the shot it always seems to get off for the most part. This time it was like kid actually blocked one. Right. Is that's not really the norm, but that's what you're talking about. Yes. It shows that instinct and athleticism, which is something that jumps off the book even to you.
Absolutely. And I know exactly the play you're talking about, because it was a step-up pick and roll, and he was knocked off, and he came back and deflected the ball, and we got a steal. He threw it up, and he caught a reverse lob. You see players make certain plays, and what always fascinates us in the basketball world is if a guy can make a defensive play and then transition to offense and then make another stunning play. Like, you always go, whoa.
Dude, that's like crushing a hit in the corner and coming out because you smeared your guy and then you boom, banging it in the net. Right? So you got the...
I remember watching Ben, man, and it was a game where he came down and glassed somebody's shot. Boom. We get the rebound and push it up. Somebody missed the shot. And he just comes out of nowhere and tip dunks it. Boom!
Oh,
and we're
just
like
savage, both ends.
And we're looking like, we win tonight. We all right. Like, he just had plays that, normal people wouldn't pay attention to. But there are certain times in games where Ben would dominate the game without scoring. He would get his hand on every basketball during a certain stint of the game, and it would be amazing. I'm like, this dude is...
So that's you're telling me that the thing that I saw Thompson do this one time, Ben was doing it all the time, and it was his timing. And and those are the intricacies. I think when the argument is what makes flannels such a joke to say that the basketball guys all know. Like, that's just not your teammates knowing. That's all your opponents knowing too.
Yes.
How good it really is.
Right. And
you know what? And I'm going to use this analogy, but it's a lot like everybody always forgets when you're naming Red Wings, right? One of the greatest of all time is Nick Lidstrom. And I'm not saying, everybody goes, yeah, of course. Right. But what made Nick Lidstrom so good was the stuff that it was almost like a ghost. It was almost like the way they implemented a rule in the game, and it was like the Lidstrom rule, because you come down and he'd stick his stick in your gloves and he'd hand check you and you'd go like paralyzed. And he did it to me a million times in practice, right? I mean, but just all the little things about getting that stick right just in the right area, like things that you don't see, those subtle things that everybody on the ice that has played against him goes, oh my God.
Right. And I think when you're just like you're talking about those little things that as a player we are in awe of, that like the normal eye probably don't understand. And we're sitting there like, dude, why is he so great? He just doesn't do it. No, dude, you don't understand. When you're out there on the court against this dude and you see some of the stuff he's doing, it's not natural.
Right.
So
it's pretty much explaining what Troy Weaver pretty much said in the draft about, the rawness of him, but the athleticism of him. Spenny, what is that? What do you think, or, watching these highlights, of this draft, is this add to the excitement, or What are you looking to see?
Yeah, I still want to see him obviously shoot a little bit better from three, but those are the concerns we had when he was drafted. So it's going to be a work in progress the whole season. But I agree with Lindsay. Just his athleticism, his feel for the game, like it is different. When you see him in transition, making passes, making plays in transition, it's impressive. And to be that size, that athletic, that young, with that much feel, you don't find that very often. So that's why Troy Weaver was so in love with him.
What Lindsay, to speak to that about what Spenny said? I'd like to see him, more efficient from three. How does a young kid like this? Is it just, do you sit back and go, just give him some time, give him the feel or stuff like that, or is this something that you either get or you don't get?
No, because the thing about shooting, you can always get better. Like you just time. You got to put time in. You got to get reps in. I tell young kids the story about when Steph Curry was in high school and his dad had to change his shot because he shot the ball from, below his eye level. And his dad was like, we got to change it. And so that summer they went to a high school every day at 8 a.m. till lunchtime, go eat, come back, and start over at about 2 o'clock till dinner time every day of the summer. His dad had him in the gym for damn near 8 hours working on his shot.
Yeah, because it's repetition.
Yes.
What your systems, everything on the same level, your defense, your rotation, it's the trust. Because why? Because you've done it a million times.
And it's the same thing with shooting. And you can tell the guys that put the reps in shooting. You see it.
So I immediately think, and I've seen in the chapter too about talking about Jalen Duren and about improving free throw. Like what is it about free throw shooting about some guys that just can never get it? Because that would, to your point about if you'd improve, maybe you'd have to make that commitment, but guys just aren't willing to make that commitment.
And that's it. Like that. There's no other way to get better.
So if you're a subpar free throw shooter, for lack of an argument, the reason it is because you don't put the time in.
That's it. There's no other excuse. That's just go in the gym and shoot 1,000 free throws. I guarantee you're gonna get better. You're gonna get better. Working on it and doing having the reps, and it helps your mentals as well as your fundamentals. You're gonna get better at it. You cannot get better at it. Right.
And that isn't that at the end of the day when it comes down to it, that's what it really comes down to the game.
You
right?
Look at the greats of the game, man, and you hear the stories. And I've witnessed it. I've witnessed Kobe Bryant being in a gym and shooting from one spot for an hour. Like I watched him. And I asked these guys, how long is he going to do this? They was like, oh, yeah, he's going to go an hour here, an hour there, an hour there, and an hour there. I'm like, what? Yeah. But
So how many balls would he shoot in 1,000?
Yes. And he was so driven, and I talk to kids about falling in love with the boredom of becoming great. Like Kobe was obsessed with the boredom of becoming great. So for him, being in the gym alone and making 2,000-3,000 jumpers was nothing. He was obsessed with it.
And he's the type of guy, correct me if I'm wrong, that seems like if he's got to make 25 straight and he misses on the 23rd, he starts over.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Till the end. No question.
And most, and you've been around greatness, those guys are psychotic. Like there's something not right about them.
They're on a different level, right?
Yes.
It's and honestly, if you probably like the LeBrons, the Michael Jordans, the Kobes, the Gretzky's, the Messiers,
yes.
There's a, for lack of a better term, like a serial killer, psychotic.
Exactly.
There's a parallel to it. It's more of how to harness the good.
Yep.
Instead of evil, but it's that obsession.
Yes.
And the best are obsessed.
Yes. And we see it across the board in every sport. We always, you always want to find out what's behind his greatness. Like, man, what how did that kid get to be that great? And then you start hearing the stories, and they talk about, even Pistol Pete when he was young, like he would dribble a basketball out the back window of his dad's car, and you put it together. You like, it just didn't happen. This guy was obsessed with it, and he just mastered it,
Speaking of free throws, who's the most clutch free throw guy in your, like, you said you've seen it, you've been around or whatever like that, but just like somebody who you would say to a young kid, go watch this guy, because it's got to be routine, and it's got to be just like blocking everything out, because, depending on how your mentality is, people waving those things, if you're not locked in, you could see that.
And I'm Steph is an obvious choice, but the biggest thing about Steph, what I always try to use as teaching points, watching him miss a free throw in a crunch situation and watch his reaction. You watch his reaction, he laughs every time. Because to him, it's like, I can't believe I missed it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Where you see other people and they are like, they get tighter, and you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because and that goes by, if he missing, he keeps shooting, he's going to shoot himself back into rhythms, right?
Look, I've witnessed a guy make 99 out of 100 threes. I was there. I stood right there on the court and passing the ball. I watched him make 99 out of 100. People don't even understand how hard that is.
99 out of 100 threes.
Yes. And we all were sitting there quiet.
Which one did he miss?
He missed after 60, he rattled one out. And then he just got right back on the roll. And we were sitting there in disbelief. And when he finished, he made the last one. He ran off the court yelling like, dang, I missed one. Yes. Dude,
was that one of the most
it's the craziest thing I'd ever seen. I'd never seen anything like that in my life. And then I think a couple of years later, he made 100 and how many in a row? You remember that video that was out?
Yeah, I think it was 113 or something like that.
In a row. So I'd already seen that happen before that. So I wasn't shocked. I was like, dude, he made 99 out of 100.
Damn.
He would do this drill every day where after all his working out, he'd work out and he would finish he would shoot 100 threes and see how many he could make. And the guy averaged 97 out of 100 every day.
And these aren't from the same spot.
No, it's 5 spots, NBA threes.
Yeah, like the NBA 3-point contest. And
97 out of 100 on average. Think about that. It's unbelievable.
Damn.
He's an anomaly, man.
But again, what have you put in to get out? And if you track the why, there's a reason.
Yes.
So Del Curry having him in a gym for 80 days in a row?
Yes.
For 8 hours?
Yes.
Shooting 2,000 balls a day?
Dude,
even Flannel could get good at something if he did that.